Welcome to another very special episode of JXG Spotlight. Janashakti Group, being in the financial field, we are the holding company for three major players in the market. On the capital markets, First Capital Holdings; on insurance, Janashakti Insurance; and on the NBFI pillar, Orient Finance. And as a corporate, why do we engage in an activity like this? We believe inspiring the community is an important fact in today's world. And as a corporate, we can share a lot of insights, experience on multiple fields. So our Spotlight podcast is aiming at inspiring the society based on financial knowledge, leadership, sports, as well as good for the community. So stay tuned and follow us on our YouTube channel for exciting content. If you are still not subscribed to our channel, please click subscribe. And if you like our content, put a thumbs up. So this leads us into today's episode, which is an exciting episode. And I was so looking forward to having this chat today. And today's spotlight is very, very special from multiple angles. Today, I have two guest speakers. So it's a three-way conversation, and I can't hold back myself. I'll be jumping in and contributing to this conversation because it's a subject that I'm also passionate about. When it comes to month of March in a particular year, we call it March Madness, or the big match season starts. And all the hype around big matches, what does it mean to us? We are not going to deep dive into about the big match or how it's been played. But of course, during our conversation, some of the nostalgia, some of the memories will come out. But more importantly, we are trying to draw our memories, our experience to inspire the community, inspire our followers, and also draw some insights on our learnings throughout the years being involved in big matches. Very specifically, if you look at 146th Battle of the Blues is around the corner, and we call it mother of all big matches. Because I think if you look at the big match calendar, all big matches have their all prominent places. But from the background that we have seen and being part of this event, Battle of the Blues takes a very, very special place in our calendar. And we'll be talking about the big match, the cricket, how does a corporate get involved, what opportunities does a brand get? How does a youngster stepping into the big arena get exposed into a situation like that? And what are your learnings? And to speak about it, I have two very exciting guests in my show today. To introduce both of them, first of all, Mr. Pradeep Jayaprakash. He played the Royal Tomin in 2003, and he also represented first-class cricket in Sri Lanka from 2003 to 2013. He represented Sri Lanka A and also represented Sri Lanka wearing the national jersey in 2005 in ODI. He is now a match referee with Sri Lanka Cricket since 2016. He holds an MBA, and he currently works as the Manager Corporate Affairs at JXG. Pradeep, welcome to JXG Spotlight.
Thanks for having me on the show, Gamika.
My second speaker is Tehan Shafter. Tehan was part of the Royal Tomin winning squad, the St. Thomas's team in 2019, and he represented First 11 for 3 years in school. He was part of the All-Ireland Best team in 2018 and 19, representing St. Thomas's College First 11 team. He toured Australia in 2018 and England in 2019 with the team. He played under-23 club cricket for Tamil Union as well as Sebastianites. He is currently the strategy and planning lead at Janashakti Insurance. Tehan, welcome to JXG Spotlight.
Pleasure to be here.
And mind you, both these gentlemen represent JXG at Mercantile Cricket and continues their passion in terms of cricket contributing. My first question is, we have played cricket and both of you have played cricket in the highest level. PJ, if you can answer, what did cricket teach you?
Gamika, it is very important that we all understand how cricket approaches life. In cricket, normally you can do everything right and work really hard, but you may not get the desired result in a game. But you got to carry on, you got to be very consistent with the process, keep working hard with your routines and all that, and come back stronger. So for me, cricket relates to being resilient in life, and that is something I have learned through. And cricket also is a great leveler. It can take you up fast and bring you down also.
Absolutely. Let me turn to Tehan. Tehan, I'll change the question a little bit for you. What really inspired you to take up cricket?
That's quite an easy one. As you know, Gamika, my family has been involved in cricket for many years. Um, as a youngster, for me, an inspiration was knowing that my grandfather had represented Ceylon in the early 50s and in the 60s. And my father and his brothers had also been playing cricket since they were very young, and so I started playing cricket at a young age as well. And going into a school like St. Thomas's, having that atmosphere and having a big match to aspire to, that was definitely um, part of the inspiration. But also just to be a part of a game that has such a rich history around the world, but even in this country.
So, asking both of you, I'll probably start with Tehan. Did you have that whole feeling that you will be representing your school at the highest level from younger age, or did some event triggered? Okay, I'm going to play this game at the highest level.
Certainly. I remember my first Royal Thomian was when I was in grade 1. At that point in time, I was playing cricket, but not so seriously. When I was in grade 3 back in 2007, St. Thomas's actually won the Royal Thomian, and I was there to witness that. And it was probably at that moment that I really thought, this is a really big deal. And I saw the reaction of the crowds and the changes in morale and the feelings of positivity that we had at the school. And I felt like that was something I really wanted to be a part of.
Pradeep, do you remember when did you dream of wearing that colors coat?
I've been very much inspired by the blue and gold blazer, Gamika, and you must be remembering the whole school assembly before the day before the big match where they introduced the entire team. And for me as a kid, I was awestruck when I saw the royal team being introduced at a very young age. And ever since, I have always wanted to associate the Royal Thomian in many ways. As a student, steward, prefect, commentating, and then as a player. So that really inspired me when I saw the royal theme being introduced in front of the entire school.
Yeah, that's a big occasion for any kid at Royal. I'm sure that's the same thing at St. Thomas's as well. Seeing the team in that, the blue and black blazer walking down that assembly. PJ, the next question is, at an age of 20, you were called to play for Sri Lanka and wear the national jersey. And also, at a relatively younger age, you've been asked to take up responsibility as a match referee also. So, my question is more on the time that you played the game. What was it like, stepping up to that big arena? I mean, big shoes to be filled, crowd expectation. You were playing with the top teams in the world as well. So, can you explain that experience, and more from a point of view, a youngster looking at us today, what they can learn out of that?
Yeah, Gamika, cricket is a celebrated sport in Sri Lanka, and anybody to perform at a global platform as an international cricketer is a big challenge. Even at a tender age, when you go in front of 30,000 people, you know that there are hundreds and millions of people there to judge you, and they will have their dislikes and likes about how you go about. So when I think about it now, I feel that you need mental strength and coping techniques on handling that pressure. Then you have the freedom of going and showcasing your skills. That is something that I have learned from my little international exposure. And now I know I can only control the controllables, and I need to leave the uncontrollable side. And that's something that I have learned from that little exposure.
Tehan, if you can add into that answer, PJ has a different exposure than you, but I'm sure you had multiple challenges playing in at St. Thomas's also. I mean, there were times that St. Thomas's were doing well, there were times that St. Thomas's didn't do well, a lot of pressure after the big match, etc. How did you handle challenges while playing cricket, and especially at the senior level?
Something that's really positive about cricket is the fact that it's a team sport. And so coming into a team, especially that year, my first season, 2016-2017, was immediately after we had lost the Royal Thomian the previous year. It was a very junior team, only 3 colorsmen, many people playing their first 11 games in that season. And it was something that was felt by everyone. There was a shared goal, but there was also shared pressure. And so being in that dressing room, everyone is able to align themselves, unite to achieve a common goal. There are failures, there are challenges along the way, both as a team, as an individual player. And, going in and out of a team is also a part of that. And that certainly adds to your pressure, but it also adds to you want to succeed and you want to be successful and make it back into the team. And so certainly throughout my cricket career at St. Thomas's, there were ups and downs, there was a lot of pressure. But I think overall, looking at the result and also that journey from a young team that transitioned into being one of the best teams in the country, I think that was it was a really great experience to be a part of it, but there were a lot of things to learn from it as well.
Absolutely. I think, what cricket has taught all of us to be resilient, whenever we fail to bounce back even harder. I think that's one of the key lessons from three of us, if you can, elaborate on that a little bit more. But another additional question to you, Tehan. Your family is known for fast bowling. Mr. Shafter, Prakash bowled fast bowling, and Ramesh was, and you too were a fast bowler. So, what is that thing about fast bowling in the family?
I don't know. I think it's to do with natural talent. I think all of us being a little bit on the taller side, little broadly built,
Yeah.
it was a natural drifting towards bowling fast, bowling pace, and that is what I liked to do from the
Right.
time I was young. Seeing the stumps being uprooted and doing a cartwheel
Right.
is, I know PJ will agree, any fast bowler's dream, especially with the new ball. And so that was the feeling I was always trying to recreate.
I have heard this on a casual conversation with PJ. There was one particular fast bowler at Royal that inspired you to take up fast bowling, right? Would you like to share that memory?
Yes, I used to be really inspired by Mohammad Iset. He was a tall,
Left arm,
lanky,
yeah.
he had a beautiful action and a very handsome looking man. So I used to go and watch him play. I was in grade 6 or 7 at that time. So I wanted to emulate him and become a fast bowler.
My memories go back to 1990. One of the smoothest actions I've seen as a fast bowler is Uday Vijay Sena. He captained Royal in 1990, if my memory is right, and smooth fast bowler. He got about 6 wickets in 1991 match where St. Thomas's were bundled out to 90 odd in second innings and gave Royal about a 40 runs target to win. Brilliant action. So that leads into the next question. Royal Thomaian means a lot to a lot of people, old boys, connected parties, relatives, players, parents, etc. From an individual perspective, I'm going to split this question into two from a perspective point of view. What does Royal Thomaian mean to you as a player? Let me start with PJ and then probably turn to Tehan from a point of view of an organizing committee point of view, because you're also part of that. I will add in my perspective as a corporate as well, because I was part of that sponsorship where my previous organization was part of the Royal Thomaian in organizing and sponsoring. So let's start with PJ. As a player, you played the game at the highest level, you played in the big arena. What does it mean to you?
For me, Gamika, the Royal Thomaian is far beyond a game of cricket. It's about embracing legacy and contributing to the very rich history. And from a student perspective, the attention and acceptance you have within your peers, parents, colleagues, friends from the social circles for being part of the Royal Thomaian is immense at that particular age. There is so much acceptance and there is so much mileage for a high profile event, for a school encounter. So, not just as a cricketer, even every student at Royal and St. Thomas's, I'm sure everyone wants to associate the Royal Thomaian in whatever way they could. A prefect, or being in the media, the organizing committees, first aid teams, all that. So it is surely beyond a cricket game. It's about contributing to a very, very rich history.
Now, very specifically being in the middle of the field, I know with that entire noise, you can hardly hear any instructions, be it from your reserves or from your captain, etc. How do you handle that? I mean, what's your view on that?
Now, when I think about it, Gamika, if I had to mentor my son, I can advise him on developing coping techniques. But at that time, I think it automatically came to us. We had good teachers, good coaches, good support system within the family. And it's a lot of pressure for a 16, 17-year-old boy to go in front of 30,000 people and display your skills. And you will have enough and more spectators being very emotional and coming and telling you what should have been done. And that's a great exposure. That's a good learning curve for you to go into the public. And being exposed to that at that young age is a great leveler.
Right. Let me turn to Tehan from an organizing committee point of view. What does it mean to you, and what were your learnings being part of that committee?
Similar to what PJ said, it's not just about the cricket match. It's about the rich history and tradition of this encounter, and it's the responsibility of the organizing committee to not just put up an event that is of a good standard, but also preserving traditions, preserving the friendships, and creating a platform for Thomians, royalists, all boys, well wishers to all connect and to really enjoy something that's deeply entwined with Sri Lankan history and culture. I think not just the Royal Thomian, but all big matches have now become that platform for people to reconnect, have their reunions, and it's just a great atmosphere to be in.
Absolutely. We'll be moving into the other big matches also, I think, because of three of us, I think we'll be talking more on the Royal Thomian during discussion today. From a corporate point of view, I think, I had the privilege of being part of the main sponsor of this great event. I think, it has become a commercial property, which contributes back to the schools and the development of rural cricket as well. I think from a brand point of view, it's beyond just putting your logo out there. It's about getting a community engaged, seeing how big your brand is out there, and positioning it very importantly. So I think from a sponsor point of view, these opportunities, be it Royal Thomian or be it any other big match, if you're a sponsor, my experience, I would like to share that you need to think beyond just being the title sponsor or the principal sponsor. How do you get the community engaged with your brand and the follow up that you have? I think that's very, very important, and you need to spend time and resources behind that. It's simply easy to write a sponsorship check and just put your name out there, but it's way beyond that. That's my experience. Right. So the next two sets of questions are more again related to Royal Thomian. What are the most memorable moments at Royal Thomian? I'm sure that we have many, but what's that most memorable moment for you? Tehan, maybe we can start
I'll
with you.
start with that. I think for me personally, being a part of the 2019 winning squad was really a good memory that I have associated with the Royal Thomian. To give context, St. Thomas's hadn't won the Royal Thomian in 12 years. We had lost the Shield in 2013 and then suffered a loss in 2016 as well. So it wasn't just the cricket team that was focused on winning and bringing the Shield back to Mount Lavinia. It was the entire school. It was a mission that we were on. And to top that off with actually winning the Royal Thomian and bringing the Shield back, I mean, that is one of the best highlights of
Unexplainable
my cricketing.
experience.
Yeah, there's
and
nothing
memory.
that compares to that.
Yeah. PJ?
I remember, Gamika, we from the boys' tent, when somebody scores 100 or when somebody takes 5 wickets, we run to the middle.
Yeah.
So in a one-day encounter, I remember we have planned, we have worked very hard to get over the fence, and we got to come to the boundary lines to go and celebrate Yasaswin Dharmaratna's first century.
Yeah.
He was on 97.
Yeah.
It would have been the first century in the entire one-day encounter history.
Oh, yeah.
And we were all ready to run, and Yasas got out. He was caught at wicket, and we were all. It was a huge disappointment at that time.
All right. Okay.
And apart from that, as a player in the 124th, when I was involved, Ganganath Ratnayaka scored 100 in the second innings.
Yeah.
He scored single-handedly. He got us on board. We were in a very difficult position at that time, and when he scored that 100, I remember the way we were relieved in the dressing room. So that is also a memorable moment.
Right. So just to add to that memories, I have many memories, but two distinct memories is 1993. The match was played at Tamil Union. Royal had a bad first inning, and St. Thomas had a very strong team. I think Suresh Gunasekar was playing for St. Thomas's. Dirk Tisera, that type of people. But Royal on the second innings were 52 for 4 or something like that. On the second day, so Thomians were expecting an early finish. But less known, not too tall, Gamini Perera walks in and plays 144 and draws the match. And that was a memorable moment for me at the Royal Thomian. I was watching from the boys' tent. I really remember, and Gamini became a hero from that big match. So many memories, I think, that's one of the memories that I cherish. So moving into our next segment is the rapid fire round, which we bring in. So some questions to put you on the spot and ask your opinion. Let me also try to contribute to this because it's an area that I'm passionate about also. So let's start with PJ. In your opinion, what's the best Royal team so far?
Gamika, I was very, very impressed with the 2009 team led by Abekon, the fast bowler.
Yasita Bikon.
They won the All Island Championship, and unfortunately, they couldn't win the big match. I remember the Thomian camp was celebrating the draw as if they have got a innings victory because they were that strong. The Royal camp was very strong. And out of that bunch, around 4 to 5 players played international cricket. Bhanuka Rajapaksa, Kitruan, Ramit Rambukwella, and there were other good players as well. So I rate them.
As well?
Kusal Perra as well. Sorry, I missed out.
Did Lasith Then also played in that squad?
Not in that squad, after that. So I rate them one of the best teams that I have observed.
All right. Dan? What's the best Thomian team in your opinion?
It seems biased, but based on track record, I would have to say the 2019 team that I was a part of.
Right.
Although I didn't play the Royal Thomian, there were 11 other very talented gentlemen who played the Royal Thomian and ended up winning. It was not just that, it was also in 2018, more or less the same team won the All Island Best Team title after 30 years and then followed it up the next year as well, back to back. Also won the limited over schools tournament, runners up in the 2-day tournament, won the Royal Thomian, and I think in my opinion that's one of the best. Even if it's not the best, it's one of the most notable.
I was actually
teams
going
in
to
history.
ask you to leave out 2019 and answer, but then I think
Outside of 2019, having watched some of the games, I think the 2016 team, although they lost the Royal Thomian, was an extremely strong team. They had a very good record during the season. I think it was 7 outright wins. Lot of talent. They had the largest opening. They broke the record for the largest opening stand in that year. I think it was a 200 plus partnership.
That's right.
And unfortunately, the result doesn't reflect the quality of the team that year.
Right, okay. So I have also seen, let me answer on behalf of Royal. So I think many best teams are there, but the closest memory is 2023, if I'm not missing, and Dasis Manchanayaka captain. So that team was like an all-round team, and of course, like the captain leading by example and turning that Royal Thomian. That was never a match that we thought that we will win. That was like complete outstanding performance. Right. The next rapid fire question, PJ. In your opinion, who's the best Royal captain? I know this probably will upset few people we know, but then...
No, I must tell you my favorite captain because I looked up to Anushka Polonevita when I was at school, not because only he was a captain with cricket. I was in grade 7 and he was head prefect at that time. Anushka captain tennis and he was head prefect plus a cricket captain. I liked his flamboyance and the way he carried himself. So I would rate Anushka as the best captain.
I couldn't agree with you more because I had the privilege of playing with Anushka since I'm 2013. I'm 1 year younger to him. I've seen him from a junior cricketer captaining. He bowled leg spin, he bowled fast bowling from the new ball as well. And that unbelievable partnership between Yasas and him was a remarkable inning that I've seen. So Anushka by far is my choice as well. Tehan, your opinion, best Thomian captain?
You're putting me in a very tough spot there.
Going to upset few of your friends?
No, not at all. I think I will go back in history because I know the Royal Thomian is very important, but if you see what quality of captains that St. Thomas's has produced, I think Andre Tennecoon and Michael Tissera are right up there in terms of leading the school, but also later leading Sri Lanka and really displaying their talents and prowess as captains.
So being very politically right, rewinded back to a lot of years so that we don't upset anybody that we know of the recent past. So right. So at Royal Thomian, both of you gentlemen are in organizing committee, and there are multiple tents, and multiple tents are coming up as well. In your opinion, what's the best tent?
For me, Gamika, you might remember the Caltex tent. We used to be very regular in those tents. I don't know, they have transformed into another corporate tent now. Very small tent, electrifying environment, and a lot happening in a small space.
Right.
And I would rate it as my favorite place.
All right. Dan?
The place that I've been spending a lot of time in recent years as an old boy is actually called the Saddlebreds tent. It's a slightly newer tent that was introduced by the OBA of STC to accommodate a place for young Thomians in the 20 to 30 age range. So that's where I end up meeting a lot of my contemporaries and where I spend a lot of time.
So I'm very biased on this question. I've been part of the Coles for a long years. So, Coles is my favorite tent so far and continues to be so. Right. The next question is, I'm getting you gentlemen to rank these players who have played for the colleges and represented Sri Lanka as well, so that for the ease of comparison, at least, yeah, almost everybody has represented Sri Lanka. So rank them based on their talent. So let me start with Tehan. Thomians, Dulip Mendis, Upeka Fernando, Kaushal Silva, Jeevan Mendis.
How do I answer these questions, Gavika? Unfortunately, I don't think I'm in a position to make a very good judgment because I've not seen all of them playing. But from what I have heard, Upeka Fernando is one of the most talented batsmen that St. Thomas's has produced. In fact, our head coach, Mr. Dinesh Kumarasinghe, used to always bring him up as an example of one of the most talented players. I think it's a very tough one between Upeka Fernando and Dulip Mendis because from what I have heard and read, both of them are very stylish batsmen, and both very successful. Yeah. In terms of an international career, I think Kaushal Silva probably solidified his place the best and really played a really good role at the top of the order for Sri Lanka. Jeevan Mendis in short form, and I personally played alongside him at Tamil Union, and I have seen him hit the ball in T20s. So it's difficult to compare because they've all played in different times, different styles of cricket. All of them are brilliant.
All right. Yeah. I think Upeka Fernando, I must also, add to that. I also rank Upeka Fernando as number one because I've seen and, he's my parallel batch at St. Thomas's. So unfortunate that we don't have Upeka with us anymore. But Upeka was a devastating batsman from under 15 to first 11. He has been phenomenal, and we thought that he will one day open for Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. So turning into Royalists, Ranjan Madugalla. I know that you don't have to upset your bosses in terms of match refereeing, but Ranjan Madugalla, Kusal Pereira, Jehan Mubarak, and Bhanuka Rajapaksa all represented Sri Lanka.
I would rate Kusal Pereira number one because I think he's an exceptional talent, and the way he scored that 150 odd runs against a very dominant bowling attack of South Africa, I would rate him high, very high. Unfortunately, he has not been a regular with the national team, but his potential and what he could deliver is very exceptional. Number two, Ranjan Madugalla, very iconic cricketer from Royal College. He has been a regular in the national team during his playing days, and he has carried himself well to be the ICC chief match referee. I would rate him very high. Number three, who are the others, Gamika?
You said Kusal and Ranjan Madugalla, Jehan Mubarak, and Bhanuka Rajapaksa.
I would rate Jehan Mubarak next because he has played in all three formats and also a complete student at Royal College. He was water polo champion, Columbia University, physical science. All-rounder, very good all-rounder.
Not only on cricket, I think many of the other activities also.
Yes, and Bhanuka also led Royal College, played about 5 or 6 years for the first 11 team. Very good prospect. He's still playing first-class cricket, and I hope that he will finish on a very high note when he finishes cricket. Bhanuka is a special talent too.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen, for that honest answer. So we'll move into the last two questions. So we moved from Royal Thomian into all big matches. I think, Royal Thomian has set an example being there, learned from the organizing committees. Also, this joint organizing committee is also a, huge success. Learning from this organizing this event leading to other schools doing bigger events. Now we saw about a couple of weeks ago Battle of the Hindus, where JXG was the principal sponsor. They too had a joint organizing committee, and it was done in a good scale, and we believe that there's a lot of potential in the northern area, northern peninsula, with Battle of the Hindus being there and played in Colombo as well as in North. Almost all big matches have moved into 3-day format now. What are the key learnings being in this organizing committee, and how have you seen the other committees and the big matches evolving? Maybe Tehan, you can start.
Sure. The joint organizing committee was introduced, if I'm not mistaken, during the centenary Royal Thomian back in 1979. Yeah. So it's been in existence for almost 45 or 46 years. There are huge benefits in having a joint organizing committee, especially in such a large event such as this, where there are a lot of stakeholders. It's really important to have a balanced approach to how you organize the game, to ensure that the game is always fair, that you're always playing in the same conditions, that there is uniformity in terms of standards, in terms of the spirit that the game in which is played. And it's the responsibility of the organizing committee to guide the students towards achieving that high standard of professionalism and also respecting and keeping the spirit of the game. It's also, there are other responsibilities like ensuring safety of the crowd and safety of the students and things which the committee always takes very seriously. But I think, as you mentioned, a lot of the other big matches have also started moving towards having a joint organizing committee, and I overall think that this is a positive trend.
Absolutely.
Certainly having that communication, that understanding between the two teams, that although on those specific days they may be arch rivals,
Absolutely.
off of the field there is a lot of camaraderie, there is a lot of understanding and communication that goes into putting on such a large event.
And also, I think the continuity of the leadership. I mean, I know that the next year the co-chair would have been already been identified, so that you're groomed to take over, so that there's consistency in thinking. The knowledge is been passed down as well. So that's another advantage. PJ, what's your view in terms of this?
My first big match was in 1992 Gamika at the Oval when Gamini Pereira captained the side. And from then till now, if you see the glamour in the matches, it has drastically improved. And for that, a lot of the credit should go to the joint committees. They toiled really hard.
It's months of preparation.
Yes, and the decisions are made in a collective manner. Both the camps have to agree to it. And where Royal Thomian is today is thankful to the joint committees.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, one thing we shouldn't forget, the blessing and the guidance we get from the warden and the principal. I think that's a big support to the joint organizing committee. I have seen how involved both the leaders from the schools are to the organizing committee as well. Yeah. So, final question to wrap up. Final thoughts, learnings for the players, and how do they? I mean, these kids today will, in another week or two, will play the big match, and then finish their careers and move into the corporate world. Some will be like taking their venture on being professional. Some will move into the corporate world, etc. So, what is that learning that you will carry from playing the highest level in your school, coming into the real life in terms of corporate? PJ, you can start.
Yeah, Gamika, at Royal College, you deal with people from different walks of life. And when you are in a team environment, you interact very closely with all of them. So you can relate that to the corporate environment. You deal with people, you understand people, and get the best out of every individual's talent and compile that to the group's objective. That is something you can take from being in a team environment. And other than that, how you cope up with pressure, what coping techniques that you bring in as a cricketer when you go and display your skills in front of 30,000, 50,000 people at a very young age. Those are the things that you can take. And also the discipline that you bring in by being involved in a sport. You got to train, you got to watch your food. All these things will also contribute to you when you grow up and go into other ventures.
Sure. Dan, what's your take on this?
I think it teaches you a lot of important lessons. For me, one of the lessons that I learned is preparation, because going into every game, every session, there's a lot of preparation that goes into it, preparing physically as well as mentally. And I think coming into the corporate world, you find a lot of the time you find that you're, working on projects, working on deadlines, things like that. And having that preparation sort of inbuilt into your lifestyle is a huge, huge advantage, because you learn to really cover all the bases, to think prior to doing things and to approach things in a more structured manner. Apart from that, like PJ said, learning how to deal and cope with pressure, especially in the highest level, on the biggest stage, that is a huge advantage that people who get that opportunity, it really equips them and prepares them to face challenges in their day-to-day life once they leave school, because they've already been put in a position where all eyes are on them. There's a lot of scrutiny. There are a lot of people waiting for you to make a mistake so that they can point it out. And so having been in that environment, it prepares you for what real life is like. But there are so many lessons that one can take from cricket. These are just a couple of them.
All right, gentlemen. So that comes to a conclusion. That's a wrap for today on our interesting discussion. So thank you very much for taking time off. I know both of you are busy in terms of organizing and a lot of other commitments as well. So thank you for joining us, Pradeep.
Thanks for having us, Gamika.
Thank you, Tehan, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, folks, that's a wrap. Take on today's conversation. Life gives us a lot of opportunities to learn. I think sports challenge you a lot and push you to the limits. It's the mental preparation, how to cope up with pressure, train yourself, being focused. I think these are some of the lessons that the players can learn from playing the game at the highest level and under a lot of pressure, and leads into being a successful corporate as well, and excel in your career. And apart from that, these events also provide the corporates multiple opportunities to build brand equity. And it's not just putting your logo out there, signing a sponsorship check, but opportunities to engage with a community that has fall in love with this event. I think that's an opportunity that the corporate can leverage, and that's a massive lesson. And there are enough case studies how brands are built through sports and events of this nature. Finally, a legacy is built over the years. It's not just built overnight, and continuous improvements. I think that's the learning that we had from joint organizing committees, the learning, the leadership, and also the experience carrying through years that will push the bar up, and the standard of the event goes higher and higher. I'm sure that Royal Tomian, as well as all other big matches, inspire many schools to have events of this nature and develop as a community, because we are a cricket loving public, cricket loving community, that we can develop our society through multiple connections, multiple learnings, and multiple experience as well. So stay tuned to JXG Spotlight. Until then, stronger together, stronger than ever.